Hey, Hoss, how you doing?
How's it going, buddy?
Yeah, we're back with the Video Destruct podcast with a special, game collectors episode, retro kind of fun thing where we just talk about hidden gems on the NES that we enjoy. And as you put it in a particular way. How you kind of saw our list here, or our listicle we're doing.
Yeah, so like I kind of think over the course of the next few months, it's not going to be every week or something, but I think every few episodes I'd like to spotlight a system from our youth. Like we're started with the NES. I might want to do the Genesis next, and then maybe the SNES, and just kind of work our way through popular platforms and just pick out a handful of games on each one of those platforms. Not necessarily like a Mount Rushmore or anything, but these are the games that I maybe rented when I was a kid, had never even heard about. You're just walking through Blockbuster and you're like, I played all this shit. Like, what the fuck is Bionic Commando? And then you take it home and go, oh my God, this is one of the greatest games I've ever played in my entire life. Right. And, but still, like, they just kind of don't necessarily get a lot of the spotlight. I don't necessarily like diamonds in the rough or hidden gems or whatever. It's just, in a lot of these, like, especially if you're talking the years 1990 to 1992, there was a zillion games coming out all the time for the Nintendo Entertainment System that if you had already moved on to a SNES or a Genesis, probably never even heard of.
Never heard
or,
of it,
like, I don't think we necessarily play to the youth demo very much on this show. But, if you're a younger person and, the NES was not the console of your childhood, maybe you want to go out and start building a small collection of these things without just hitting the Mario 3s of the world and stuff like that. But also don't want to go out and spend, like, Little Nemo money or, a lot of these significantly more expensive games, or games that honestly at this point are expensive that shouldn't be. Mike Tyson's Punch-Out should not be $100.
No, absolutely not. There's a million of those copies. Yeah, there's millions of those games out, but collectability. That's just it. It's my dad's a big collector. He's always collected comics. He's always collected toys, and he always told me, even when I was a kid, something is only worth what somebody will pay for it, and people will pay $100 for Mike Tyson's Punch-Out.
And that's the thing is that, like, and I'm not saying don't pay that for Mike Tyson's Punch-Out if you really want it, but not every game you go out and buy can or really should be for this era a system that kind of price, because a lot of these experiences, I got probably 100 hours out of Mike Tyson's Punch-Out when I was a kid, but most people will probably grind it for 5 to 6 hours, look up some strategies, see if they can beat Tyson, and then it goes on the shelf, and you're like, I like Tyson's Punch-Out, but, like, it's not a forever game that, like, I'm not going to devote the next 3 months of my life to, just really getting good at fighting Tyson.
Right. There's no GTA mode for Mike Tyson's Punch-Out, although that would be cool. But yeah, basically the idea is like, what's it? And also a lot of these games, I would say the ones on mine, especially, they're not games you're going to find on a virtual console anywhere, like for regular purchase. Like you'll see them on like the retro, like kind of, emulated type retro consoles and stuff like that for sure, but because they have the entire library of everything. But like for the Nintendo Virtual Console, for PSN, stuff like that, you're not going to find these games on any of those, because they're
especially like the licensed stuff, and in various and so many of these things were licensed. The other situation you run into is that a lot of these companies, it was like a 2-part deal where like the development was associated with X company, but distribution was attached to Y company, and one of those entities doesn't exist anymore. And in a lot of these situations, people don't necessarily know who owns some of this. That actually happened for a long time. System Shock was one of those games where at a certain point, the rights to distribution were owned by a lawyer.
Yeah,
because somebody had not paid him, so he ended up owning it, and he didn't know what to fucking do with it. And then
right.
somebody finally tracked him down, and like System Shock is back among the living, and we've got the remakes and the remasters and that kind of stuff, and that's awesome. But there's a lot of that happened in this era, and also like holding companies and fucking Acclaim, and their spectacular implosion. And
Konami for a while there too.
Yeah, well, and the weird thing about Konami was that like they had this approach of like hoarding, of like, well, nobody can have it. It's like, you mean to tell me that you don't want to re-release Silent Hill and just make the money? It's like that's not a very intensive process. And for about 8 years, Konami was like, no, fuck no, it's not worth our time. And now they've returned back to video games, oddly successfully. I've been very impressed with the output from Konami and the partnerships that they've forged. Like, that Metal Gear Solid collection was fantastic. And this new one looks like it'll be good. It's going to have MGS4, and that won't be orphaned on the fucking PS3 anymore.
Yeah, it's such a Japanese company, so it's hard to like kind of get the inner workings of like who was there or anything like that. I wonder if there was like a shift at the top end. It was just like, like some new CEO came in and was just like, hey, we were actually being successful here, and our pachinko machines took a massive hit when the world shut down in 2020. So maybe we go back to this video game thing that was making us.
And their fitness clubs. They were also
they have been doing some very decent practices. Yeah.
So they had all kinds of arcades in Japan that had fueled arcade development, and a lot of that stuff, they were using those resources to port a lot of that stuff back home. And then fitness clubs had gotten so popular before 2020, and they just started decommissioning arcades and turning them into fitness clubs. So there wasn't as much of an arcade presence for them. So they didn't really care. And then in America, post the pandemic, the arcade industry is booming here in a way that it hasn't in a very long time. I think a lot of the games are absolutely rotten, but like the kids love the arcades, the big screens, all that fun stuff. There's a few good arcade games out there, but like really it's pinball that's absolutely fucking killing it right now.
Pinball and the grab machines, there's a lot of those now. A lot of those
they're in popular. I think it's Fayette Mall. There's a UFO catcher machine store that it's just it's like a Japanese arcade. You walk in there and it's just all the UFO catcher things that pick up stuffed animals and shit. And that's a store in the mall. Arguably the most successful mall, in the Louisville metro area,
it's so funny because like those machines, final tangent before we get into our topic, those machines were always like sort of a carny situation to where like, they were kind of rigged to not really win anything, and then you just get people paying into it. But the model for those are like, because it was the same way at the main event and the one in Jefferson Mall here for a little bit, a lot of those claw machines were actually really easy to win, and it got the people's dopamine like going, like, oh, I'm just gonna keep doing this, and they would just resupply with cheap, kind of fun little
25-cent stuffed animals and shit.
And you drop $1 in and win one, and then you'd want to go play another one, and like it just like a lot of those like giant shops in Japan too, if you spend enough money, they'll just come over and grab you something and give it to you, because they're just like, here you go. You put in like $20 into this machine. Here's a stuffed animal, and it just keeps your like dopamine going of like, oh, I get to like actually win a thing. So it's funny the way that shifted to being like unwinnable to just give them some attainable something and they'll pay you money.
It's like, well, because they kind of figured out that like people don't want one. I don't like that we've decided on a plush. They're stuffed animals. But fine. People don't want one of these things in their house. For some reason, these people want like 10,000 of these fucking things in their house. It's like, to me, that just seems like a fucking fire hazard or something.
There's a collectibility to it, especially what really blew that up was Pokemon, when Pokemon started doing the plushie.
Yeah, because they're cute.
Thing. Yeah, they're cute, and you want all of them from a generation or whatever. You want all your favorite ones or all the ones in that evolution lines. It just, Pokemon is made to be collectible, so just kind of went along with it. Beanie Babies still haven't come back. People like plushies now, so Beanie Babies still.
I think there's a stank on that brand tie that like just people remembered just how absolutely brutalized they had got by that company of like, here's 90 different variations of the same one. And they're all like retailer exclusive and all that stuff. It became, it's the whiplash effect that I think we're going to feel with Pokemon cards about, how between the scalping and then the lack of supply from is that Wizards of the Coast that's still distributing that?
They help distribute, I believe, but I don't believe. Yeah, they don't own it. I think they help.
Yeah, there's just you could meet this demand. I don't care what you say. You could meet this demand, but they don't want to because it keeps people talking about it. Like I hadn't other than just us getting a few packs, or maybe a box here and there, but we never sold it as a box. It was always just you'd bust it open and $3.99 a pack for Pokemon cards, and they were the same way for 20 years that I worked at GameStop. Other than, like on launch days, somebody coming in saying like, I'd like 4 or 5 packs. It wasn't a thing, man.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. Like this current one right now is going to kill the whole thing because no one plays the game anymore. It's literally just like scalping.
This is the Death of Superman comic where all these people are going to go out and they're going to spend way too much fucking money on this shit. And they're going to think, oh man, I'm sitting on a gold mine, and they're going to get fucking burnt. And they're going to hate the hobby.
Yeah. The reason Magic has lasted as long as it has is because they keep it playable. They're losing that battle now, but they might course correct soon. But like, if you keep it playable, then the cards remain, then everything remains, at a higher rate because people actually want to play it. If it's just taken over by scalpers and people who want to maximize their profitability on a card that they crack open, it's not going to last. Nobody cares. Like no one. It's cardboard. They forget that it's cardboard,
Well, and the one thing I will say when it comes to like Magic the Gathering is that like, so about once a year, or once every 6 months or so, it's like, here's our Final Fantasy set. Here's our Marvel set. Here's our Avatar set. The ones that like, that's where the absolute sickos are going to go after. But the actual people who want to play Magic the Gathering probably will buy a couple packs of that and then just move on. See, there you go.
Exactly. So, but yeah, because I don't buy every set of Magic, but I'm an Avatar.
No, but you're the probably biggest fan of Avatar that I know.
Yes.
And for the listeners at home, it's the Last Airbender, not the blue people.
Yes, not the blue people.
But because not everybody can see you hold up that box of cards.
True. Yes. Yeah. Sorry for if you're doing audio. I held up the MTG Avatar box. So yeah.
But yeah, like I hate to see what's going on with like Pokemon cards right now in that scene right now. I know this is a big tangent and everything, but it's like, I only see this as potentially the worst thing that can happen to this hobby. For a lot of people that genuinely like it. I actually follow these guys on like YouTube, like that Short Pocket Monster. The guy every day, it's should I open it or should I keep it sealed? SIOIOSIKSI. It's really funny. He says it every day super fast. But yeah, like every day he opens like a really desirable pack because he doesn't see a lot of value in keeping that stuff closed. And like I just find it kind of fascinating. Also, when somebody's like, "Hey, there's a $500 pack of cards," and they open it and get nothing, it's like, yeah, I feel that moment like at the end of Willy Wonka, where he's like, "You get nothing."
Good day, sir.
You lose. But yeah, I hate to like pivot too hard here. Before we get into the main topic of the day, I kind of wanted to cover something since I've got a few games that I had played in our short break there that I did want to touch on and not do like a super deep dive in it or anything, but just like make a recommendation.
Yeah, sure.
I played through 007 First Light.
Okay. Yep. People
that game fucking rules.
Okay. Sweet.
Yeah, that game's really, really good. So it's from IO Interactive, makers of Hitman, coming off the smashing success of their World of Assassination trilogy of games that I like a lot. The one thing I would say is that a lot of people are fascinated by Hitman, but look at it and go, I don't have the creative mind for that. There's a lot about Hitman. It's absolutely free form environmental gameplay is just a lot of people look at it and they get kind of overwhelmed. The awesome thing about 007 is that it pulls in a lot of their fantastic world building. Obviously, their flair for visuals, young James Bond, he's cool, but it's not like he's not overly cool. He's also kind of like, yeah, he's figuring this thing out, you know?
Right.
And, you know, it's funny at times. It has one of the best tutorials you'll ever play, period.
Okay.
Period.
Nice.
In a story.
Nice.
It's all told through montage.
Okay.
So where something could, like, if you did not tell this in a super tight montage, this thing could have drug on for a while. But it's like, it's an incredibly tight 30, 40 minutes.
Okay.
And it's all just like, you know, hey, run this thing real quick. And then you get to see a little bit of the, you know, the interaction between the other potential, you know, 00 agents and you, and how you're late to the program and they hate your guts, you know, but one of them starts to see something in you. And, you know, the guy who's running up the training, actor that you totally recognize. He's been in a bunch of stuff. Awesome British black guy whose name I'm blanking on right now.
Idris Elba?
No.
No.
But not that tier of Hollywood, right below him, but like you totally you know this guy. Like, and he's a complete dick to you, and hates your fucking guts because he didn't want you in the program in the first place, and you're too instinctual and stuff like that. But yeah, it's awesome, and then it's just amazing set piece after amazing set piece. There's a lot of people that, like, you can compare this to an Uncharted, but the one thing I would say is that this is much more free form than Uncharted. The game also just has a flair for the wild ideas that I like. So say you're sneaking around. A lot of this game is kind of stealthy, but if stealth pops off, there's 3 guys in the room. If you kill them quick enough, it just plays the burner, situation contained. And that's it. And it's done. Right. And it's great. But the awesome thing is you're like in a firefight with a guy and you run out of bullets. The last pull of your trigger, you throw the fucking gun at that guy. And it will eject the gun off of him. And you can grab his gun out of the air and shoot him. And
nice.
There's a flair for the wild.
Max Payne shit.
It is, and it's also like almost kind of super hot.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Which is a game that, like, longtime listeners of the show know that I love very, very, very much. Please make another one. And just to kind of wrap this up in a tight little bow, it's an amazing 15-hour experience. There's also a bunch of stuff to do after that. That's the only way I can kind of describe it is it's almost like the Metal Gear Solid VR missions, where it's like, here is a very tight, out of world context challenge map for Bond to undertake.
Okay.
And, it's not the most like original storytelling in the world, but it's a great James Bond story because, let's face it, there's like 2 James Bond stories.
I mean, yeah, it's like that's pretty much it. So
yeah,
but
and this is one of those. It's like, guess what? Hey, AI is not good.
Yeah,
Spoiler.
AI is not good, and the Russians. That's true.
Yeah. And then, like, somebody early on in the game takes you in a room and they go, "This is our new supercomputer, AI," and you're like, "That's probably not good.
That's probably not a good thing. It's probably bad.
But yeah, it's an amazing game. I really, really love it. It's also one that, like, I know in the next month or two, that's going to be a game that's regularly on sale. I'm not saying go out and spend $70. It's totally worth it. But that is a game that, like, man, around the holidays, if you can get a good deal on that thing, it's awesome. It's on fucking everything. It's going to be on the Switch too soon. But it's on everything else already, and based on like how Indiana Jones and stuff like that are ported to the Switch, I'm anticipating that Switch 2 version being pretty good as well. Right. But yeah, that's my short, like, I was about 5 minutes on 007, and pretty good.
Awesome, sweet, fantastic. Let's get into our topic. I think I did play Mina the Hollower. Quick aside, I did started Mina the Hollower. It's fantastic. I've not played it enough to give you a full spot on it, but That game's tough. That game is
Yeah,
hard.
I was gonna say I can give you like a quick little tweet on that one.
Yeah,
that game's like a high heel to the crotch. That game's fucking
dude,
hard.
it's hard. But I'm getting the feel for it and everything though. You got to get a real good feel to it. So it's good stuff. It feels like a bit harsher than Shovel Knight, I would say. But it's good. It's a good harsh.
I agree with that assessment.
Yeah. All right. Let's get into our topic, which is the hidden gems, which is our SEO title style thing for this thing. Not necessarily hidden gems. These are just because there's no such thing as a hidden gem with the internet now. Everybody knows everything. Like everybody's heard of every game. It's like it's very, very difficult to find something that no one's ever heard of.
I don't know. I solicited some recommendations from a couple of friends of mine, and I actually have a short list of games that I'm gonna go play. After this that I had never heard of. Like I've heard of Gun Smoke, but I've never played Gun Smoke. So and there's a couple others in there that I'm gonna go check out after this, and maybe next week I'll have even more recommendations to toss in here.
Yeah, the Gun Dots, that was on some of the lists that I was perusing as well. People seem to like that one. I hadn't checked that one out before either. So maybe there are just some, because like you said, like the late stage, 90 to 92 NES games, there were tons being dropped and people never played them. So what was the last game in the NES? That thing was huge. Like that thing had like a resurgence in popularity because it was like it's the final game and it's like this big long RPG style type of game or whatever, side scroller RPG.
Is that one of the last games? Was it Dragon Warrior 4?
It wasn't Dragon Warrior. It was in the vein of Dragon.
The last Nintendo published game for the NES was Wario's Woods.
Okay, that's interesting.
That is a puzzle game.
That's cool. That's interesting. I like that. But yeah, I can't remember what it was called. It had a big resurgence. Everybody talked about it and stuff, but can't remember what it was. Down in the comments, what was that game? But yeah, let's get into the list here. My first one, I'm going to go ahead and go first, the one that I think people should really jump on. This one's very close to one that you have on your list as well. But Journey to Silius. Journey to Silius, cool little story behind that is that this was a Terminator game. This was going to be the Terminator, the movie, the game, and they lost the license. And they had Sunrise, is it their Sunsoft had made this game, and they were ready to put it out. You're gonna be John Connor in the future fighting Terminators, and they lost the license, and so they were like, "Well, we made this game," so they just turned it into a different game called Journey to Silius, and it's great.
I've never played that game.
Yeah, no, it's a great game. The music is fantastic because it's Sunsoft music, and it's the same composer that did the Batman NES soundtrack. So the tracks are dope. You can go listen to them on YouTube if anybody ever wants to hear them. They're awesome. Same composer as Batman. Journey to Silius is awesome. Absolutely great game, and I think it's pretty available. Honestly, it's probably on most.
I almost put Batman on my list, but I thought because that movie was so popular that maybe that game is not, under the radar enough. It is incredibly affordable, though. Mm-hmm. And I would say just about anything that has a Sunsoft logo from that mid to late NES period.
Yeah.
If you can get it for under $20, it's probably pretty good.
Yeah.
They were on a heater there for a little bit late in that console's era.
Yeah, solid games. Again, the Batman, that's one of my all-time favorite NES games of all time. It's one of the best looking NES games, one of the best looking video games out there. Just with that black background and how they skirted the line to make those animations look as good as they did back then. I would say Journey to Silius is not as that pretty, but they do have a trick of like parallax scrolling with the clouds in the background. That's very cool. Like it's very fun. So I think that game is definitely worth it. So Journey to Silius, Silius, Journey to Silius.
Nice.
That's my first one. Yeah.
So my first one is strange because it is not a licensed title. It has a license associated with it, but it's not licensed to be on the NES. It was a weird gold cartridge, and I had only ever seen it at rental places. It was Micro Machines.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That is a very good game. It's a little bit on the higher end for this. It's probably closer to 25 to $30 if you find it in the wild loose cartridge.
Mhm.
It's a very cool game, though. It's Micro Machines. Pretty much every Micro Machines game that ever followed it followed the same formula. Top down perspective, think RC Pro-Am. Except, you're like in a library, going across like kids, notebooks and pencils and stuff like that as bridges, and, going across through a kitchen, and it's like, here's spilled milk or cereal or whatever, and you got to avoid it. And that's your obstacles. And that's what they used to actually build tracks with. And I just remember that game being incredibly satisfying. It's also a game I think you could play with up to 4 players if you had the multi-tap. And me and my brother rented that like several weekends in a row and liked it a lot and kept looking for it in a store. And then we went back to rent it again in the hopes of buying it. Because if you kept it for like longer than 7 days, the Blockbuster policy gave you the option to buy it. And somebody had already bought it. So we could not get it. This is very much in the same way that like, I don't think that the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles tournament fighters for the original Nintendo was sold in stores. I think that was a rental exclusive as well, which is why that game's so damn expensive now.
It was a rental exclusive.
Micro Machines has not reached that, the heights of that price wise. But it is on the rarer side while still being more affordable, and just a hell of a good time. I mean, like, you and a few friends can have a really fun evening doing that. And like I said, every Micro Machines game that has followed in its footsteps for the last 30 years is that same formula because it's timeless. I recommend that game a lot.
Absolutely. It's awesome. It's a great one. We played that on the show at one point. I think we played it at some point. I know we played that somewhere together.
I think you and I played that Hot Wheels game that's similar to that.
Oh, that might have been it. Might have been the Hot Wheels game. Yeah, that's true. That's very true. Next one comes as a recommendation from my brother. He brought this one up because we had a copy of this. And I'd never really seen it anywhere else. I don't even know where my dad got it. I think he got it late from a flea market in like 1993. This was well after the game was out. But G.I. Joe, The Atlantis Factor, which is a G.I. Joe licensed game. It came out right around the time that Deke Entertainment took over for G.I. Joe. So it's no longer with Sunrise. It's now over with Deke. You got all the different, like, the new costumes and different, like, looks for each of the Joes and stuff like that. And you can switch out between each Joe, kind of like the old TMNT, the first TMNT game. So, but each one, like, kind of has, like, a different weapon, a different gun. Very cool thing. You're trying to stop Cobra from unleashing some old Atlantis technology thing or something like that. So very hard game too. It's
is this Cobra Commander or Serpentor?
This would be Cobra Commander at the time, I believe. I think, is Serpentor in that game? I'm not sure. I think you do fight Cobra Commander because when Deke took it over, they took Serpentor out and inserted Cobra Commander again in his stupid silver armor that looked terrible. But and I think that's the version of it that it is. So it's that 90s Deke revival of it. But yeah, this is a good game. It's a very solid game. You shoot guys and it's very simple, but it was easy to read. It was easy to understand, like, what you were supposed to do, as which is odd thing to say, but some NES games you didn't know what you were supposed to do.
They're pretty fucking arcane at times.
Right, so like Mylon's Castle and stuff like that, which almost made it on here if it wasn't just for the fact that Mylon's Castle is just too cryptic. Like, it's just like too cryptic on that game.
Yeah, that's one thing that I would say about a lot of NES games. PC games at the time, like the adventure style games, kind of struggled with this from time to time. Like, if you're 3 guys in an office making a game and it's like, yeah, I know what to do here. You don't have a big, cast of testers that can say, this is fucking I have no idea what you want me to do. It's like, I'm sure all the guys at Rare were really good at that motorbike shit in Battletoads, But for anybody else that hadn't memorized, the exact format of left, right, up, down, left, right, up, down, it's just fucking, it's too much. Is to ask from a new player kind of thing. So does that game end in Cobra? La 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 la.
You know what? Cobra La might be in that game. I feel like some of the enemies are.
It has to be, right?
The putties guys. I think they might show up at the end of that. Yeah, because they are only they're only ever allocated to that movie. That's all they ever are. They're never anywhere else. So I think, but some of the enemies I think were the little Cobra La putties that came out. So
I got a recommendation from since we're going to pull in some friends of the show here. Recommendation from Todd, former guest, future guest, I'm sure. He recommends Star Tropics.
Yes, I do know that.
Yeah, just the one thing you can do is you can get Star Tropics very cheap. Just know that you need to find a scan of the map.
Yeah. Which is pretty easy to find, I think.
Yeah, basically, the one thing I will say about Star Tropics, it's a bit of a spoiler, but it's also a 40-year-old spoiler and something that if you don't know, you'll never figure it out. You needed to put the map from that game in water. And it would show you on the map what to do, at about the midpoint of that game. So, just know going into it that you don't need to get one that's complete. The scans are out there. You'll be fine. Yeah. It's like if somebody tells you hey, I got Metal Gear Solid, but I don't have the box with it. It's all right, just be aware.
Yeah.
You're going to need to find a scan of the back of the box.
Yeah.
I won't tell you why.
Yeah.
But you're going to need to find a scan of the back of the box.
And that was an interesting time, when you had physical things kind of interacting with your game that you would purchase, because
it's almost like we're going to lose that here pretty soon. Weird,
right? But because PC games would do that, puzzle games for PC games would be oh, check the, at some point in the game, be well, you have to check this number and see where that's at, and it's and it's sort of also is a piracy cheat as well for back then, but it's just oh, you have to actually look at your box or do something like that.
My favorite thing was with PC games, they would give you, it was almost like a child's toy thing almost, where it was a wheel that had a big small wheel thing in it, and you had to rotate it to a certain degree, and it would give you a code, and that acted like your serial number to prove that you actually owned the game and didn't just dub somebody's disc of it. Which I thought was super fucking cool. It added a tangibility to this thing. And then later PC games, some of them, God, I wish I could remember the name of the game right now. Shit. It was published by Electronic Arts, and you would put your phone number into this website and it would call you on the phone and tell you secrets to solve things in the game and shit. It was super fucking cool. That was awesome. That was very late 90s. It felt like awesome. you were punching deck and fucking hacking the internet and shit. It was awesome. It was great. It was very short-lived, but it was a fucking cool idea that I liked very much. But what do you got next?
Next up on mine is let's go with one of my favorites that we rented a billion times but never bought. We never bought this one for some reason. Me and my brother would rent this all the time, and it was confusing and weird, but just that right amount of weird that just kept us coming back to it. Clash at Demon Head. This one gained a little bit of extra notoriety because of Scott Pilgrim. The major enemy band in Scott Pilgrim's name is Clash at Demon Head, named after this game. It's very anime style, but you kind of travel across this road area, and you have to fight all the demon senators town or whatever, right? Matching all the way up to this giant mountain at the Clash at Demon Head. The big mountain is called Demon Head, and it's just a really cool RPG side scroller action adventure game. You have to buy these tools and meet up with this professor who gives you the rocket boots. You have to get a lava suit to go into a volcano to get a certain key to find this route, and it's really cool. And there's multiple ways to get through these routes and get through to these areas and stuff like that. So Watching speed runs of the game is very interesting, because there's like different ways to do it. There's obviously like a most optimal way now that people have figured out, but like watching old speed runs of like, oh, if you get the lava suit, you go here. Well, if you do this, you don't have to get the lava suit, you can go here. Very cool stuff. But very interesting game. It's very Metroid, Castlevania, or Metroidvania as we call it nowadays. It's very much like that in a lot of ways, because you just like purchase an item, you use that item, you run over here. It's got an economy that flows. You have to like get money, go back, buy more ammo for your stuff. Really cool stuff. I absolutely love it. It's a blast, and it kind of, the graphical vibe is very much like a Toriyama, Dragon Quest, Dragon Ball type of look to it. And then with like the American book cover is like an 80s metal band sci-fi, like it's just completely different, but it's just like, this is how you sell it here in America, very funny. But it's very cool. I love Clash of Demon Head. I think that game is fantastic. As weird and esoteric, and we never beat it. Did my brother beat it? My brother might have beaten it at one point, but I don't remember what the ending was. So, but it's a very, very cool thing with a lot of cool bosses too. The bosses are all very, they all have personalities and names, and like you talk to them. There's like little talk boxes, which isn't typical with a lot of those side scrolly type games, So very cool stuff. Loved it.
Yeah, I only ever got to play that game at a friend's house. I have a full NES ROM dump on my Retroid Pocket 2 Plus thing. And I'm making a small list of like, all right, so I need to go play some of these. Like I never spent enough time with Star Tropics and Clash of Demon Head. I only got to play at a friend's house and stuff like that. It's like, I think I'm going to go back and, much as we had said last week, keeping vibes high here, but it's like, with as much as some of this stuff that's coming out modern days is pretty good, there's an unlimited amount of old shit that you can go play, and a lot of times in a non-paid for format, and go back and just re-experience the history. I think Clash of Demon Head's one of those that I'm going to do that with.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a blast.
But yeah, next on my list, I'm going to pick one that like I'll leave it up to you to determine whether this flies as low under the radar as I think it do. Think it does, not think it do. I picked Bugs Bunny Crazy Castle.
Yeah. I had that game, but I don't think a lot of people prior to Angry Nintendo Nerd knew what the hell that game was. It wasn't one that was talked about by kids on the playground.
No, it was also at that, like it was pre like the Space Jam era. Also, like everybody knew a person who had the shirt with Taz and Bugs Bunny where they were wearing the crisscross backwards, like baseball jersey and pants and stuff like that. It's pre that era, but also like it was late. I think that was like a 91 Nintendo game. And also I think if you took a kid to a store and the Tiny Toon Adventures game was on the shelf and the Bugs Bunny game was on the shelf, they'd probably have gone with the Tiny Toons game. And I think most people that are pretty fluent with the NES have probably played the Tiny Toons game. I don't know that many have really played Bugs Bunny Crazy Castle, and a lot of people played it on the Game Boy, which I don't think is a great version of that game. But yeah, like for the Nintendo, it's an awesome, like it's kind of almost Bubble Bobble meets Mario, kind of in a way. If I had to kind of encapsulate that, it's also a game. It's really affordable. It's fun. I have not seen what the angry video game nerd had to say about that game, because I pretty much avoid him. Not my bag. I'm not going to criticize him. It's just not my thing.
Sure.
But yeah, I remember having a lot of fun with that game, and I really like it. I also thought that it was the animation was pretty stiff in that game, but I also thought for an NES game it was very sharp looking.
Yeah, you could tell who the characters were very clearly. Like it was fun to see. Bugs
Yeah.
and Sylvester, and
it had kind of like it not in the same way, but like Ninja Gaiden sacrificed a lot of animation on the enemies by giving you really high res environments and an awesome main character that moved very well, and then everybody else just kind of bounced around like weirdos. And like I think Bugs Bunny Crazy Castle kind of forsakes a lot of its animation for just a really sharp look. I like Crazy Castle a lot. That's maybe not going to be the most popular pick, but if you went out and grabbed it, you can get it for less than $20. So it's one that I would recommend. I think
it's a good.
No, go ahead.
Okay. I like it because it's one of those games that exemplifies that you don't need a jump button to really like to make a decent game design. It's very much a puzzle type game, and it's like it's side scrolling, so it's kind of weird to not have a jump button, especially if you're a rabbit as well. But it's just like the idea is that you have to figure out this puzzle without jumping. So Captain Toad did the same thing, so it was awesome. So,
and I would say of the last 10 years, Captain Toad Treasure Tracker might be one of the most overlooked games. I love that stupid game. Make another one.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, I really think that we're primed for more of that, or just make like a full on like big ass $20 expansion pack for the original. I'd buy it. Like I'd be into it.
Yeah.
But what do you got next?
Next on mine, I've got which one of these do I want to do? Yeah, let's do TMNT, the Manhattan Project. Probably the most known one on my list, I would say. But no one really talks about the Manhattan Project. This is the third TMNT game on the NES, the third and final one. First one, obviously, TMNT on the NES, that is unfairly called a bad game. It's not a bad game. It's a hard game, but it's not a bad game. 2 is the one that is very much like the arcade game, not Turtles.
It is the arcade game.
Original.
Yeah,
it's the arcade game version of it. Manhattan Project takes that template, the beat 'em up style, and it's done from that engine, and it's like a much better version of the second game. You have 4 separate little special attacks that each turtle can do, which kind of separates them a little bit more, which is cool. All new levels, like full on crazy levels for each one. Different environments. There's a beach environment. There's a you kind of a prelude to the Turtles in Time hoverboard level as well. Like there's so much in that game that's that's sort of precursored Turtles in Time, one of the best beat 'em ups, as our list would tell you, out there. So it's a very interesting one because like I remember getting that game again very late. I think Dad probably got it at a flea market for like $12 or something, and it was very cool. Just like a third TMNT game, and it was called TMNT 3, the Manhattan Project. I think some cartridges did not have the 3 label on it. I think they would just call it Manhattan Project, but whatever. It very interesting. But I think that game is awesome. So, and it's no one talks about it.
That game has like kind of an interesting lineage because they went Konami had upgraded the board for the arcade machine to make Turtles in Time. And lost my monitor there for a second. All right, we're back. We didn't lose my audio, did we?
No, you're good.
Okay, good. So they'd upgraded the board, and it was a semi-Herculean effort to port the arcade game to the NES back in 1990. And then when, pretty early on, they realized that Turtles in Time was just, it wasn't going to be able to be ported. So that's why they splintered off a team to make Manhattan Project. And that's why they share a lot of ideas. Because a lot of those were from the whiteboard at the same time. I learned a lot of this later, conveniently through the Cowabunga collection. And I'd never actually played the Manhattan Project until that TMNT, the Cowabunga collection, came out, which is incredibly comprehensive of the early TMNT games all the way through the Super Nintendo. So it's even got like Tournament Fighters. It's got Turtles in Time. It's got the arcade versions and the home versions, and in some situations, Game Boy and Game Gear versions of these games. It's incredibly comprehensive.
Okay.
It is very good. If you don't have it, it is worth picking up. And yeah, that was actually my first exposure, was back about 5 years ago when that came out.
Nice.
On the Cowabunga collection. And yeah, the Manhattan Project is fantastic in a lot of ways, maybe better at times than Turtles in Time is.
Yeah.
It's just got a lot of cool ideas.
It does, yeah, especially on a 16-bit cartridge. It's just like it had a lot of limitations. 8-bit. Sorry, I said 16. Yeah, 8-bit. So less half of that. Just like limitation. Breeds creativity, man, and it's very cool. And I remember that they were smaller. There was a reason they made all of them smaller too, to like kind of compact things as well, because they wanted to add more things into it. So
so smaller sprites, spread out the capability for them to do other things in the environment. And it's a game that where it lacks in technical fortitude, it's abundant with ideas. It's an idea game, it's fuck it, man. Like we can only make it look so good. Let's just try to make it crazy. And I really respect that. It's also like, it is a game that 100% doesn't belong on this list because it's expensive, but that same collection has TMNT Tournament Fighters for the NES. We had mentioned this before, but it's a very rare game and it's very expensive. But I mean, taking a 16-bit fighting game and putting Tournament Fighters on the NES with a very decreased roster and stuff like that. Yeah. But with only 2 buttons.
Yeah.
Figuring out how to make that work. It's a pure fascination. And yeah, like through emulation or Cowabunga collection or whatever, that is another one worth absolutely checking out.
Yeah, I think the Cowabunga collection kind of qualifies it, since it's pretty readily available that you can grab.
And dirt cheap. That thing's on sale all the time for under $20.
Yeah. So go pick that up. Go play Manhattan Project. It's good. It's good stuff. What else you got, Hoss?
All right. Yeah, it's my turn again.
Yeah.
Okay. I go on about this game from time to time, but I would be remiss if I didn't say Cobra Triangle.
Yeah, we played that one on the show.
Yeah, it's like a kind of mission-based boating game. It's another one of those ones where it almost borders on being too esoteric at times.
Yeah,
but it encourages you to kind of force your way through, and it looks awesome. It's super fast. It's kind of it's isometric, kind of like RC Pro-Am is in a boat with combat, and it's very cool. It's an awesome, and this game is literally $5. Yeah. I've never been at any kind of game, exchange, used game retailer place, and that game being more than $5. It's made by Rare. If you want to go back, we have a video back when the Rare Replay collection came out, and I exposed Brandon to that game in a way, and because I loved it when I was a kid. That was a game that my mom and dad were at like a yard sale and had gotten it they got 2 games that day. No, they got 3. And 2 of them I liked, and 1 of them I fucking hated.
Yeah.
2 games I liked were Pipe Dream, which I like a lot. Like if you like BioShock, you've played yourself a good deal of Pipe Dream. And then Cobra Triangle. The other one that I thought I would have adored, Bart versus the Space Mutants.
Oh yeah, that was bad.
Fucking blows ass.
Dude. Me and my cousins got so much gameplay out of that crappy game. I don't know what it was. We played the hell out of it.
It was The Simpsons. And you just wanted to love The Simpsons. I just wanted to be in the world of The Simpsons.
Yeah. the concept of painting stuff purple or painting it, away from purple and stuff like that, cool, great, love that. It's taking Bart's, vandalism and making it part of the gameplay, but it's so hard and annoying and
finding it with They
bad.
Live with the stupid sunglasses and all of that shit. And
man,
it's just rotten. It's just rotten.
Yeah, it's not good. It's a lot of ideas. I'll give it that, but none of them coalesce anything decent. So
when I scoffed earlier when I mentioned Acclaim, this is what I'm talking about.
This was what I meant.
Yeah, it's real bad. Like Acclaim has a in some people's eyes rosier reputation than it deserves.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you remember, they published some home ports of Mortal Kombat. Mm-hmm. They published some home ports of NBA Jam.
Yep.
They didn't fucking make them. They just kicked them out the door and put some marketing money behind it. And a lot of people just had this, it's Acclaim. It's, it's the NBA Jam guys. No, it's fucking not.
they are acclaimed for that, right? It's like, no, it's not what that is.
They're absolutely not acclaimed for that.
We should do a whole podcast about Acclaim and how they've stolen the reputations of better developers.
I like that idea. I was also leaning towards, the direct opposite of our Mount Rushmore of games thing of like, I want the bottom 4 of the Simpsons games. It's like, all right, so like, what are we talking? Like the Simpsons bowling, the Simpsons skateboarding, Bart versus the Space Mutant, and Bart versus the World.
Yeah. Because I was going to say Bart's Nightmare, but Bart's versus the World is way worse.
Yeah, because isn't Bart versus the World that's only like 4 mini games and that's the whole fucking game?
That's it. Yeah.
Like it's like criminally light on content as well as also being ugly and fucking terrible. Like,
yep. It's bad. It's bad. You have to fight 4 separate Mr. Burnses in 4 different areas of the world for no reason. It's very silly. Man.
All right, let's do a couple more.
Stuff.
Let's do one more audience pick from each of us, and then we'll close on one personal pick for each of us.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. My personal or my other audience, the only other audience one I had was Gunsmoke, which I don't know anything about. I just know that people.
I had someone recommend Gunsmoke to me, and now I'm going to go play Gunsmoke, and then I'll talk about Gunsmoke next week because I fucking clearly need to play Gunsmoke. Yeah. Because nobody will shut the fuck up about Gunsmoke.
Because everybody's talking about it.
Excuse me, Gun.
Oh, you want to hit the gym?
Smoke.
Here's one.
Yeah. Everybody they come jumping out of the bushes, going, "Have you played? Have you heard the good word of Gunsmoke, sir?" Like,
pops out like a groundhog. Oh, what? NES.
Have you heard the good word from our Lord and Savior Gun.Smoke?
It's like, oh man, Todd's got a few more though, right? Can we get?
He does. I'll take 2 of his since we didn't have much to say about that one. No offense to anyone who recommended Gun.Smoke. Like I said, it's going to get us time to shine next week. It'll be in our rundown of what you've been playing. I'm going to pick one of the ones off of his list here that I'm very familiar with. Adventure Island, Hudson Soft's Adventure Island. Titular character Master Higgins. A man who is like a weird caveman who fights dinosaurs, but also gets a skateboard and eats fruits.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
What's not to love?
It's another weird one. Another Toriyama design for the.
Did he actually design it? Okay, I didn't know that.
I believe so because he also did the anime as well, which was a weird, goofy anime that was.
Never seen that one.
Yeah, it's a weird one. It's of course it has like the different title, has like the Japanese title for it or whatever. Sure. So
the game is an awesome side scroller. Pretty early on, as opposed to the Mario Fireballs, you get like these kind of rock tomahawk things that you can throw. They don't bounce like the fireballs in Mario, so it's a lot of the game is about you kind of getting momentum, jumping and throwing your tomahawks and using air control to kind of push yourself backwards to not fall over edges and stuff like that. It's a very difficult game. It's fun. It's one that like I never finished, but I played more than my fair share of Adventure Island. Also, another one, if I'm not mistaken, should still be very inexpensive. It has always been on the cheaper side of things. But like I said, since 2020, everything's gone really stupid. But it is one that you should be able to afford.
Yeah.
But yeah, I liked Adventure Island a lot.
Yeah.
It is one of those. It's one of the rare games that does look very nice while also not suffering from a lot of slowdown. It's very colorful. It sacrifices some detail in the event of just the game looking and feeling and running very nice. You had something to add, Brandon?
Yeah. Absolutely. It's that game always reminded me of very Ghosts and Goblins-esque style gameplay. That the way you jump, the way you arc things, it feels very Ghosts and Goblins to me for some reason. I don't know why. It's not as hard as Ghosts and Goblins. Good God, it's not as hard.
Well, and you also end up in your underpants.
I think I actually. Yeah, do the underpants thing as well. But, I think I actually beat Adventure Island at some point. I definitely never beat Ghosts and Goblins. That was never one.
Show me a man that has beaten Ghosts and Goblins.
I've seen it. It's hard. Oh, man. But have they beaten it twice, which is the actual requirement to beat the game? So, which is preposterous. I feel like most people beat it the one time. It's just like, I'm not doing that again. You fuck yourself. I'm not going again. So that did remind me of something of a game that I almost put on here that I can't put on here because honestly, it's just like I can't recommend Caveman Olympics to any modern audience whatsoever. I can't do it.
You know why?
There's a lot of personality and fun. Yeah, I know. It's like there's a lot of personality and fun humor in this game, but there is also some very dated, brutal, Custer's Revenge style humor in this game that I cannot recommend.
You see him throw the wife once, and you're like, "That's pretty funny."
It's pretty funny, but it's like that's the Olympic. You also got like dragging the lady back. It's like your loading screen of like dragging. It's just like, all right, like I understand that this was like a jokey joke thing back in the modern audiences are not going to be okay with this idea. It just can't be done.
I will say this: if you're the kind of person that was standing out on the street protesting saying, "Bring back Scary Movie," you probably would love that game.
Fair point. That's 100% true. Yes, there's a type of humor that people will enjoy with this thing. I did when I was a kid. I'm not going to lie. And I probably still think... I'd probably still think it was funny now, but just because of how absurd it's going on. But I can't recommend it to a modern audience, but there it is. I put it out there anyway. Sorry if we get canceled after this one. So
it was a great last episode with you. It was a great last episode. We had a good run.
Yeah, right. Yeah, it's awesome. It's very cool. It's like Caveman Olympics took us out.
There's a lot of like affordable scrolling shooters on the NES.
Mm-hmm.
Some of them are like, pretty substantially overshadowed by their arcade equivalents. Like I really like 1942. I think that game's great. It's also pretty affordable. But like, I didn't think that like, Galaxian or, Xevious, were anywhere near as good as their arcade counterparts. But a game that I, was recommended by a fan of the show, Todd, that I 100% agree with. You might know it as Life Force or Salamander. And in all other territories, I'm pretty sure Life Force was known as Salamander. But yeah, that is an awesome. If you like those vertical or horizontal scrolling space shooters, It's one of the best. Like, it's awesome. It's one of my favorites. Has really big, crazy boss battles,
totally.
awesome upgradable guns. You're able to, the most empowering moment in one of these scrolling shooters is where you have upgraded your gun to its maximum and you feel like you are dumping out as many bullets as the enemies are capable of doing. So it takes that bullet hell and it kind of flips it back up on itself. So that, like, no, I am the one who does the fucking now, and I like that game so much. It's an awesome one. It is one that, like, you see, it was a really good seller, for the NES. So it's one that's pretty common, pretty inexpensive as well, and you'll see on like tons of shelves. Nice. And that was really the focus of what we wanted to do for this. Is that we talked a lot last week, and I didn't want to be like a big bummer about everything that's going on right now. But like, I think that over the course of the next couple of months, we're going to continue going through different platforms, that are known for, having some affordable games. Like the Genesis is just filthy with affordable games, that you can build a really awesome collection out of. And not feel like you have to go out and spend $900 on a PS5 Pro for you and a couple of buddies to sit on the couch and have a good time. So I think that's a pretty good slate of, the stuff that, like, you might not know about with the Nintendo. Because when we first started talking about, like, what would be cool affordable games? It's like, yeah, Metroid's cheap. Yeah. But also you probably have 90 ways to play Metroid.
Yeah, exactly.
Mario Brothers 1, 2, and 3, they're great. But you also probably have a ton of ways of playing. Also, if you're going to pick up a Nintendo, Mario 1 through 3 are pretty good. What the fuck am I going to tell you that you don't know about Mario 3? Guess what? In level 5-3, you get Karibo's shoe. You get to ride around in a fucking boot.
Yeah. Exactly. It would be interesting because we're doing a lot of these. I got one to go on my list, which is Shatterhand. That one's a little bit expensive. I think the cheapest I found is about $37 for a cartridge, for a non-box cartridge, which isn't too bad, but it's one of those higher end ones, which is a little bit kind of annoying. But it's a kind of a rare game too, but nobody really knows about it that much. Coolest thing about this game, and this is a mechanic I don't like. I'm not sure if anybody's copied this before, but it's really cool. You play as this big beefy guy who punches, right? That's cool. But as you kill enemies, they give you an item. They give you like an A, B, or C, right? Or maybe it's just A and B. Can't remember. I think it's A and B. And you have 3 slots over your character, right? And depending on the combination of A, Bs, your binaries, basically, that goes over the top. So if you get like AAA, you get a fire punch. If you get ABA, you get like a sword. It's like a whole different combination of different stuff you get when you fill up that thing. So there's like all these different combinations of like specialties you can get. And if you want to get a particular one, there's some enemies that will like drop little change boxes where you can change whether or not you get a B or an A. So you can get a particular thing. If you want the fireballs, if you want the ranged attack, it's very cool. And I don't know of any other game that's kind of like, had that, be a thing. So I thought that was really cool that was
that seems awesome.
A mechanic. Yeah, it's a really cool mechanic. It's a side scroller beat 'em up or side scroller fighting, adventure game. It's a lot of fun. I dig it a lot. So Shatterhand is definitely up there, and it's pretty available on emulators. I don't know if it's ever been like virtually put out there like commercially. I don't think it ever has, but it's one of those that nobody really knows about. I have a few of those for SNES too, and it's fun. That's a real hidden gem. Nobody talks about Shatterhand like ever. Like nobody ever.
Well, it's pretty funny. You mentioned like emulators real quick, and I kind of wanted to pivot to that just for a brief second for people. Like I understand if you're the sort of person that like you look at emulation as a form of piracy. I don't necessarily agree with that all the time. because I think that there are situations where a lot of this stuff is, so limited access to that it's been over 40 years since, a lot of these cartridges have even been printed and stuff like that. It's just, it gets to the point where like its scarcity makes, emulation in a lot of situations a necessity. But another way to look at this, especially, whether it's the cheap games or the more expensive games, if you're new to a platform, go try these things out on an emulator before you go drop 150 bones on it. Like for the more expensive stuff, especially taking a chance at like a game convention, I spent $15 on this thing. We'll take it home and see if it's any good. That's totally fine. But it's like, if you're going to make more expensive risks, that's the thing about like PS2 collecting right now or GameCube collecting that makes that so precarious right now is so many of these games are like $700.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like
it's a lot.
And it's like,
crazy.
All right, well, fuck you. I want to try this thing before I buy it. This is, like a copy of Kuon, a very strange game from the PS2. I think it's currently the most expensive game on the PS2, a complete box copy that is like $1,500. Come on. And I'm not saying like, only pirate it forever. It's like, if you want to own a box copy, great, but like I would definitely recommend you probably play it first. Also, that game's at its peak right now. Maybe don't buy a game when it's at its peak. It's like you never want to run out. You never want to run out and buy the hot comic. Don't buy that. Buy it when it cools off. Buy it 6 months after the movie.
Yeah. Piracy is a very specific thing that's, like as something's coming out or before it even comes out, if something leaks and stuff like that. The new Avatar we were talking about earlier, Last Airbender, the new Last Airbender movie came out finally on Paramount. So, but that got leaked months ago on Twitter, and it sucks because it's just like, why would you leak a whole movie that people are like anticipating coming out? It's just going to hurt the commerciality of the thing that you enjoy. And it's like, I get it. You're mad because they didn't release it to theaters and it's only on Paramount Plus. You don't want to get Paramount Plus, but just get Paramount Plus for 1 month. It's $8. Like, who cares? And then cancel it after seeing the movie. Who cares? Like,
make a new email and get a 7-day trial. Like,
right? Yeah. It's like, it's not hard to get this thing like legally. Like, geez.
I can't tell you how many trials of the WWE network I had over the years.
No, right? Exactly. It's like, this isn't hard. So somebody was mad because they weren't freaking releasing it, like in theaters. Like, he's not ever going to be able to see it. So he leaked it on Twitter and like 3 million people saw it. I'm like, oh yeah, cool. Good job. Whatever. Of course, nobody watches things on Twitter anyway. It's all bots, so I don't think it leaked to that many people. It's all.
Have you been to the movie theater recently?
On that place. What was it? I can't remember what it was. I saw something in theaters, recently.
I've been a few times here recently. Man, this has been a rough summer for movies, dude. Yeah, the Odyssey wasn't great. It was fine.
Mm-hmm.
I still stand by this, and fuck anyone who disagrees with me. It's my opinion. Almost no movie needs to be 3 hours.
Yeah, no, totally agree. I think there are some that have done it well, but it doesn't need, no movie needs to be that goddamn long, and I'm sick of it. I'm sick of movies being 2 hours that don't need to be 2 hours. It's why I stick to animated movies. They don't go over 140 minutes or an hour and 40 minutes. Like, that's it. So it's an hour and 40.
Just give me a tight 90. Give me a tight 90. That's it.
Yeah, 90 minutes. Yeah, 90 to 100 minutes is perfectly doable. I don't need any of that. So,
do you know why 90-minute movies became such a thing? Is because if you think about it, if you go out on a date, between going to a restaurant, having appetizers, having a meal and all that, you're talking between an hour to an hour and a half. And then you go to a movie, which is an hour and a half. That is a 3-hour date. That is plenty enough time for you to go out and have a social experience with another human being. And then you go home. So now, if I want to go out and have something good to eat before I go to the Odyssey, which was over 3 fucking hours, that's a whole Sunday. You just kind of robbed from me my entire Sunday. And that's what happened. And I didn't hate my time with the Odyssey, but there's all this time where they're like on a boat and they're going like, we don't know where the fuck we are. It's like, we could have cut 5 minutes of this out right here. Here's 5. Here's 5. And then they do it again later. And you're like, here's another 5. Guys, we're getting there.
Another 5, you can cut out. We can cut this, baby. But I don't know. Yeah, there's just some ego trip that happens now in Hollywood where no director wants to cut their shit, and any director that can make money, they can't be edited because the studio's like, just make us money, please. It's like, they
well, I mean, especially when it comes to like Nolan, and I think I mentioned this last time, but I will mention this whenever Nolan comes up. I like a lot of his stuff, but he and I disagree on a lot of things when it comes to movies, and it's typically his inability to write a third act to a fucking movie. And it's always like visual splendor and one of the most amazing things you've ever seen. And then in the last act, it's like he handed it to a 4th grader and went, how do you think it should end? And fuck. It's so frustrating. It's like, so he's pushing the book out of the bookcase in the future, and it's making the dust come out.
Sure.
But I will say, I've seen a lot of movies here recently, I don't want to pick on the Odyssey too much. It was fine. You'll probably have a good time with it if you go see it. Disclosure Day, never bother. It's one of the worst films I've seen in a theater in a very long time. But I will say it has been a fucking banner year for horror. Between Obsession and The Backrooms, these movies made by young creators with good actors and no budget. And they've gone out, and both of those movies made over like $400 million. And I'm like, guess what, guys? Maybe just like our fucking political system, we need a whole lot of young creators with new fucking ideas.
Wow. How bizarre. Two indie horror movies directed by YouTubers outsold a Star Wars movie in theaters this year. Think about that. It has shifted, guys. It has shifted.
I was actually talking to a friend about this, and I can kind of wrap this up on this. I'll leave a thought experiment out there. Feel free to, message me on Blue Sky if you disagree or agree or have ideas or anything you want us to talk about on the show with this. But so the last time that horror was this hot was the 1980s, when the country was in a time of incredible upheaval and social unrest. And I think that horror says a lot about the temperature of people's emotions and how they feel about the world around them. And I think that, that's how we got back here. And I think by processing through horror, you get to what's next. When you can find a way to write stories that help us cope with, feelings of unrest or dread or, just anger, whatever it is, whatever stage of grief you want to pick at any given time. I think that like horror is great at that. And you can walk out of a horror movie having laughed and jumped and felt something and just completely erase what's going on in your brain right now for nice tight 90 minutes in a movie theater. And I think Obsession and Backrooms are both on digital now. Go watch those. They're really, really good. And at the end of the Backrooms, I haven't laughed that hard in a movie theater in a very long time. And everyone else around me was horrified, and I felt like a monster. But I was like,
This is great.
Yeah.
I laughed a few times in Obsession too of the absurdity that happens in Obsession. I love it. It's so good.
You know what's really great is the guy that he calls at the One Wish Willow company. You know who that is, right?
Yeah.
It's
no,
the director.
who was it?
It's the writer director.
That makes sense.
And because so he was talking about it in an interview, and they were like, well, so who is he talking to? Like, what did it mean? He's like, well, I basically just left it in the script as that he was talking to me, the real person who wrote the script, because even I don't know why this went this way. And I just thought that was pretty cool.
That makes perfect sense because he literally is like explaining it like, well, I don't know, it just works that way. And he doesn't like know anything beyond like what's going on. And he's just like, it's like, I don't know. It's like,
I got really into his YouTube stuff.
Oh yeah,
he's very funny. Yeah. He's very funny. Him and his buddy that was actually the friend in the movie that wished for the $1 billion that just falls out of the sky.
I knew that he was on the channel a lot. I knew that guy was on the channel a lot.
Yeah. So the writer director guy, he's like the blonde guy with the glasses. He's like kind of the mastermind of it, and the other guy's more of the actor, but had some some input in it. But it worth going and checking that stuff out. Man, I really liked those movies, and I just every time one of those things comes out and has just like this nice tight budget and runtime to it, and fucking smokes traditional Hollywood. Oh man, it makes me feel so good. It's like fuck.
I'll even give it up. And this was last year. I'll even give it up to Markiplier when he did crap. What's it called? The Iron Lung. He did Iron Lung, and that movie was good. That was a good movie and shockingly well done. Took the plot of a 30-minute game and turned it into an hour and a half pretty decently.
Well, and even like Evil Dead Burn, which is a little bit more higher prestige production company behind that. That movie did really well on its budget and stuff like that. It's just horror is hot right now because I think just a lot of us, you want to feel something, and like the tone of the room sucks. I can't even get somebody to hop in a car and go see if Mitch McConnell's alive. Which it just seems so insane. It's like, guys, have you never heard of a fucking car? Just drive over there and say hi. Someone,
right?
Fuck. But hey, that's my one time a year I'm allowed to say anything political. I did it. I did it.
Political, yeah.
Get in the car and go talk to that fucking old man. But hey, whatever.
You took a real controversial turn on that one too.
I took a real brave stance.
No one's making that joke, by God.
Nope.
But no, that's all we do here. We take the safe road, so it's fine. Like not recommending Olympics to anyone. Anyway, yes, but
we have taken a lot of let's just say that darker stances on this one.
There we go. Spousal abuse is bad, everyone.
Wow.
Anyway, let's call that an episode, Hoss. I think that'll do it. This has been the Video Destruct Podcast. You can check us out at videodestruct.com and on all the social medias and every place you can get the podcast. And you can also
follow me on Blue Sky at Hostile17, HOSSTILE17. Message me. Let me know what horror movies you're watching right now. What's what games you're playing right now. Like, there's a lot of really good horror games out there right now. You give me some recommendations.
Yeah, absolutely. But that's going to do it, guys. Thanks for being on. And we will see you next time. See you later.